Hello everyone, it's Kari from sunshineinmypocket.com, and today I'm so excited to share with you some brand new hot foil products and a bunch of cards. Today I have the Altenew Hot Foil release, which also has a bunch of other things as well. And so I just wanted to share with you how awesome these are. This is the Sentiment Banners hot foil plate, and this is the Sentiment Banners cover die. So you can hot foil these and then cut them all out at the same time. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Here is the Sunburst Doily hot foil plate, and it comes with this die as well. So look at this. You can do a lot of fun techniques with this one, including a shaped card, some hot foiling, and I'm going to show you some techniques with that. Then they also released this really awesome Gilded Rose hot foil plate along with a layering stencil set. So take a look at how large this is. It's as big as it's actually bigger than my hand. Look at how big this is. It's beautiful, and I really was taken with this one. I'm going to make a card with that as well. This is the layering stencil set I was telling you about. And so you don't have to color, but you can add some quick color with inks to this along with some foils. Then this is the Tiny Patterns hot foiling set. There are some small patterns here, a polka dot, stripe, kind of like a streamer and a confetti look. So these are really great for making cards, for making accents. I made a tag with this as well. Lots of things you can do with these. So today I am going to be testing out a new to me paper. This is a very, very smooth cardstock. It's a cover stock. Here's what it is. It's the Accent Opaque Digital Smooth Cardstock, 120 pound, and I'll link this below. Hopefully we're going to get a really great foiling effect with this paper here. So let's get started. I wanted to start with the Sunburst Doily. This was one of my favorites from the release. I have lots of favorites from this release, and I'm just going to show you how easy it is to do this. Now, leave me a comment below and let me know if you've used hot foiling before, if you've ever done this before. I have the Gemini foil press that goes with my Gemini Junior, which is why I purchased this one. But you can use it with any hot foil. So here I have the Spellbinders Glimmer hot foil. I'm going to start out with a silvery foil. And it's important to note that you must have hot foil for this. You cannot use the same foil that you use in your laminator or your ink machine. This is a special foil that gets pressed in with the foil press, and so it's a little different. So you can also do these same techniques with the Spellbinders Glimmer system. I have not used that one before. I've only used this one. So I'm telling you what I know, but from what I hear, that one works great as well. So I put the Sunburst Doily hot foil plate first, face up. Then I put the foil on top of that with the pretty side facing the foil because it's going to press it into the paper. Then the paper, then I put the green plate, and then I use the metal shim, which by the way gets a little bit hot. So I'm using my tweezers here to get it off. And I let that sit on here with the timer so that it would get heated through all the way. Look at that foil. I love this. We're going to add some ink to this because the foil does resist some ink. Now I got a little overfoiling on one part. You might have seen that, but I'm not worried because I'm going to cut it out with the matching die. So sometimes those matching dies really help you out. Now this foil, or this metal plate that came with the Gemini foil press, also works as a foil system where you can foil the entire design onto your paper. So I'm going to use that to foil this leftover foil from the Sunburst Doily hot foil plate. Now I did add some cardstock shims, I should mention that, and it came out nice and smooth, but look, it didn't fully foil all the way. So I may have had to heat this up a little bit longer. But again, I'm not worried because most of that I'm going to cut off with the die. So just so you know, sometimes you have to play around with the timing, with how long you heat things. Most of the things that I did today were very successful, and so that's what I wanted to show you. Let's go ahead and foil up these sentiment banners. I'm going to use this really shattered glass looking silvery foil this time. And again, I'm placing the pretty side down towards the foil plate. It doesn't look like it, but the ugly side is facing up. It's true. This foil is just so pretty both ways. And then I'm going to heat that for 30 seconds. I found that mine, I like to heat it a little bit longer. Then I ran that through my Gemini Junior to press it down in, and look at what a beautiful result we got. This one looks so thick, but wait until we cut it out with the Sentiment Banners cover die. It coordinates so well, and I'll show you that in just a bit. But let's go ahead and foil the Gilded Rose hot foil plate. I love this one. I ended up putting it on a larger piece of paper so I could foil the whole thing, but I'm going to cut that out later so that it fits on a card panel. Now, I already ran this through my Gemini Junior, but look at the results we're getting. Such a pretty result. There's a little bit of overfoiling on one of those petals here, but I'm going to show you. You just take your sand eraser and it comes right off. It's very easy to fix when you have a little bit like that. The rest of it looked practically perfect. So yay. Now for the tiny patterns hot foil plate set. I'm going to use 2 of them here today just to see what they look like. The stripes and then the kind of streamer confetti looking one. And this time I'm going to use some gold. Again, this is a very sparkly gold, but it turns out so pretty. So putting that, again, the pretty side facing towards the hot foil plate, then the paper, then the shims, and then I ran it through my Gemini Junior, and here's the beautiful result. This one turned out perfect. So pretty. The design is smaller, so it's harder to see the stars in the foil, but it's still beautiful. Now, this one I think I'm going to turn into a shaped card, but before I use this one here, I'm going to ink it up with 3 colors of distress inks using some of my favorite turquoise colors, and I'm just going to quickly ink this up here, and then I'm going to cut it out with the matching die. Comes with the set, and look how pretty that is. These are both ready to be turned into cards. For this one, I'm going to use the new 3D embossing folder. It's called Dotty Circles, and oh my goodness, do I love this embossing folder. It's perfect. All right, before I finish putting them all together, I'm kind of doing all the coloring now. I did the foiling first, now on to coloring. So let's color up the Gilded Rose with the matching stencil set. I'm starting out with a light blue, just inking that over the entire rose. This stencil outlines the rose, so you kind of mask off the paper around it so you can easily ink on the entire flower. Then you can go ahead and put on the second layer and then ink on a darker color on that second layer here. I'm just going to line that up. It's pretty easy to line up. There is a layering guide in the packaging, so if you have trouble, just take a look at that layering guide. It'll show you just where to line things up. So this one I'm using a little darker shade of blue. By the way, I wish there was such thing as a blue rose, but that's so great. One of the great things about building your own rose, you can make it any color you want. For this third layer, just pay attention to where that lines up in spots. It's really easy to tell once you get that put together with the rose and the other colors. This one's going to be an even darker blue, so I'll go ahead and do that here. I'm using these small blending brushes from Altenew, and it's perfect for this application because it's small enough so you don't have to tape anything off. The last layer I'm going to do even a darker blue, and that's this little piece here. I'm just going to line that up and add a darker blue again. This is the same color of dark blue. I'm just adding it a little heavier to this layer. So beautiful layering. You don't even have to think about it. The stencil does all the work for you. And look at that foil with the colors. Oh, it's gorgeous. I'm going to cut this out with a rectangle die, an A2 sized rectangle die. This will fit a card, and look at all the different orientations you can create a card with. I decided to go with this right here. I hated cutting off that rose, but really in the end I only cut off a little tiny bit, so not too big a deal. And to finish this off, I'm going to use the Fancy Piece die, but first I'll color up an ink up a panel with the same blues, kind of making it a little bit gradient, a little lighter on top and darker on the bottom. I'll cut that out with the Fancy Piece die and layer that up with multiple layers of cardstock. That's going to look so beautiful on the bottom of this card. And by the way, did you know there is a rose that is called Peace and Love? It's one of my favorite roses I've ever had. It's a hybrid rose. It's pink with yellow. So pretty. I used to have that in my garden. I miss it so much. So here's my Peace Rose. This one's blue. And I turned that into a card, just adding that to a card base. Now let's go ahead and turn this into a card. This is the Anemone branch stencil. It's got 3 different stencils with lots of fun things you can use. There's a vase, there's a branch, there's a couple of layered flowers, and you can also purchase the die to cut them out. Now this is what I used on the card at the very beginning of this video. So if you notice that, this is the Anemone branch. I fell in love with this. I'm going to go ahead and just use the flowers for this one and die cut them with the matching dies so that I can use it for a couple of cards with this Tiny Patterns Hot Foil set. Just using a couple of colors of reds and corals here. I started inking the center with a darker red, but I didn't love that. So instead, I'm going to change it up and add some black to the center here. These are blending brushes I use only for oxide inks, and I love having a separate brush set just for my oxides. I don't have to wash them. I can just use them over and over, and I don't use them for any other inks, only oxides, because it's a different hybrid formula. Now I'm moving on to this layering stencil to make the background for this card. This is the, I think it's the Dazzling Diamonds. I'll have everything listed below. I'm going to do a light inking of a coral color and also a light gray just by using my black ink without re-inking it. So it's a light gray, and I think that's a really beautiful color combination. And now for an accent, I'm going to go ahead and use this beautiful glitter paper from Altenew. There are so many different shades of gold in this gilded set. It also goes down to silver even. So you can choose just the right shade of gold. It can be more yellow or it can be more silvery. So I picked one, and now I'm going to use that along with a sentiment strip. Now these match up so beautifully with the sentiment strips and sentiment strips 2 stamp sets from Altenew. So I went ahead and stamped a bunch of those on, and now I'm going to cut them out with the cover plate cover die that goes right with it. You can see that it also cuts out these beautiful foiled stars, so you're not missing anything here. It's just a bonus. I use those foiled stars on this card here. This is the double rainbow stencil that just came out new also. So here are a look at all of the cards that we made today. I finished putting most of them together off camera, but look at the beautiful gems in the center of that anemone. Here's one I used with one of the turquoise sentiments that was foiled, and that Dotty background, oh goodness. And then here is the shaped card. You can also add a ribbon to tie that on to a gift. I think that would be so pretty. And of course our gilded Peace Rose, the Peace Rose that I've called my blue rose. So take a look at all of these sentiments I have left over, ready to be used on another card as well. So great. This release was really fun with the new foil release from Altenew. I think this was the first time they've released some foils, and so I loved playing with them. They were so beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this video today and a look at all of the products as well as the foiling system that I use. Leave me a comment. Let me know which card was your favorite or which products you love and have to have. I've listed and linked everything below, so you can go take a look really easily at everything. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today and leaving me a thumbs up, and if you want to leave me a comment, that'd be great too. It really does help out with YouTube. I'll be back real soon with some more card making inspiration. Until then, enjoy crafting. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.